What if I told you that one of the most powerful countries in the world fought a war it couldn't win? A war where the enemy was almost invisible, the battlefield unpredictable, and the consequences lasting for generations. This is not just a story about weapons and soldiers. This is the story of the Vietnam War and how it changed America forever. After World War II, the world was divided into two powerful sides. The United States stood against the spread of communism, while countries like the Soviet Union supported it. Vietnam became a key battleground in this global tension. The country was split into North Vietnam, led by communist leader Ho Chi Minh, and South Vietnam, which was supported by the United States. American leaders believed that if Vietnam fell to communism, other countries in Asia would follow. This belief became known as the domino theory, and it slowly pulled the United States deeper into conflict. In 1964, after the Gulf of Tonkin incident, the United States officially entered the war. What seemed at first like a manageable mission quickly turned into something much larger. Thousands of troops were sent, then hundreds of thousands. With advanced weapons, helicopters, and modern military power, the U.S. expected a clear advantage. But Vietnam was not a traditional battlefield. The war was fought in dense jungles, under extreme conditions, and against an enemy that knew the terrain far better. The reality of the war was harsh and unpredictable. There were no clear front lines and no guaranteed safety. The Viet Cong used guerrilla tactics, striking suddenly and disappearing into the jungle. Soldiers lived in constant tension, never knowing where the next attack might come from. Every step could be dangerous, every sound could signal a threat. The psychological toll on soldiers was just as intense as the physical danger. Back in the United States, the war was unfolding in a completely different way. For the first time, people could see the reality of war on their television screens. Images of destruction, injured soldiers, and civilian suffering reached millions of homes. As the war continued, public opinion began to change. Protests grew stronger, especially among students and young people. Many began to question why the war was being fought and whether it was worth the cost. The nation became divided, not just politically, but emotionally. In 1968, the Tet Offensive became a major turning point. Although U.S. and South Vietnamese forces managed to respond, the scale and intensity of the attack shocked the public. It became clear that the war was far from being won. Confidence in the government's strategy began to decline, and support for the war weakened significantly. By 1973, the United States started withdrawing its troops from Vietnam. 2 years later, in 1975, the capital city of Saigon fell to North Vietnamese forces, officially ending the war. The United States had entered the conflict with the goal of stopping communism, but left with deep scars. Thousands of lives were lost, and many soldiers returned home with lasting physical and emotional wounds. The Vietnam War was more than just a military conflict. It was a moment that reshaped how wars were viewed, how governments were questioned, and how a nation understood its own power. It left behind lessons that are still discussed today. And even now, one question continues to echo through history. Was it worth it? If you found this story meaningful, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more powerful documentaries, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective matters because history is not just something we study, it is something we continue to understand.